Welcome, beautiful Paris Saint-Germain family. We're here after FC Barcelona lose 3-0 to Chelsea FC in the UEFA Champions League, and we're set to discuss the game. Before we go into the game in a bit deeper, this is a very embarrassing game from FC Barcelona's perspective. It looked like they finally got the ball rolling, beating Bilbao 4-0. Juan Garcia back, Barca back to the Camp Nou, Yamal's injury woes behind him, Rafinha back, Ferran Torres in good form, Eric Garcia playing as the DM, De Jong supposedly being good, and then comes a reality check. And it's even a reality check for me. I predicted Barca to win this game 3-2. My initial prediction was a 2-2 draw, but I edged it to Barca when I looked at Chelsea. But fair play to Chelsea. You know, I think Chelsea need appreciation from myself. They were, from what I've heard, they were good in that Bayern München game, but, amateur mistakes and so on. First big Champions League game in a very long time, and basically the first big Champions League game for many of those Chelsea players, and we saw a little bit of that experience. But here, we saw tons of experience from this Chelsea FC side. I mean, they looked professional. They were a little bit, how can I say, wasteful. I mean, this game could have ended 6-0 if you wanted it to. Disallow goals, missed opportunities, Garnacho, just a player in his own. But, Barca, 3 big games this season. They played Real Madrid. They played Paris Saint-Germain, lost both, but only 2-1. And then here they get absolutely humiliated. I know they had a red card, 44th minute, going into the second half, 10 men down and everything. But what we saw before that, Barca were not good. So let's go in a little bit deeper into this game. First of all, let's take a look at the stats. Chelsea having 55% possession. Still not a lot, with Barca having a red card right before halftime ended. 1.76 expected goals, 15 shots, but only 3 big chances. I thought Chelsea had created more this game, and 2 of the big chances were missed. Barca, on the other hand, created 1 big chance, which we all know who it was for, Ferran Torres, in the beginning of the game, and he missed it. And this is what I had for the 3 goals. The first one comes from a set piece, and I tweeted this, and we'll actually go to my tweets quickly right here. First set piece, goal, disallowed. Second set piece, goal, but disallowed. Third set piece, goes in, and it's a goal. I thought Cucurella was offside from the initial one, but then they showed, I think, Fermin Lopez, his leg was in behind, and it's a goal. And then the Estevao goal. I mean, madre mia. You can go back and look at my goal reaction for it. That was an insane goal. Huge aura, top of the net, cooking Kubarsi. De Jong loses the ball, and then Delap at the end. I mean, it's basically, the usual Barca goal they can see. The ball to the side, ball inside, and it's an easy tap-in for the keeper. Nothing surprising really there. And as I mentioned, before we go more into the game and individual players, let's go through my tweets I made since the beginning of this game, because that will give me, some reminding of my thoughts during this entire game. So let's do that quickly right here. So here's where the game started, and these were my initial tweets. Let's take a look at it. As I mentioned before, first set piece, Chelsea set piece, disallowed goal. And it just shows Barca really weak from set pieces, but also shows, the Premier League teams, how strong they are. And I thought it was offside. I thought this was initially offside, but I think, was it Fermini? Or maybe it was Kubarsi. Someone's leg was in behind when they showed the VAR thing, so he wasn't offside. It's not looking good for Barca and Yamal. We'll come more individually into Yamal, but it's another bad game in a big game for Lamine Yamal. He gets the GA. He does get the performances versus the La Liga mid-table and relegation sides, but when it matters, that's, what's important for players. And then this, before the game, you can go and watch my preview. I wanted Yamal to Cucurella because I was so tired of this Cucurella, best left back shouts and everything. But I gotta hold my hands up. Cucurella, incredible performance, locking up Lamine Yamal this game. I mean, Lamine Yamal had 2 chances created in that first half. One of them came from a mistake from Chelsea. The other one was a good cross. But apart from that, couldn't do anything. Cucurella stayed physical, stayed tight, and he couldn't do anything about it. Then obviously some Caicedo prop. I rate Caicedo. I've said he's the best Premier League midfielder before, and he proved it once again in a huge game. And I said there is pressure on Caicedo. We saw him in the Bayern game. That was probably his worst Chelsea performance ever in a big game. But this time, he proved himself. Araujo red card. Let's talk a little bit about the Araujo red card, because I don't think he should have gotten his first yellow card. I think I missed it, but I think Yamal was tackled or something, and the referee let it play. And Araujo was really mad. He went to the referee. I think he bumped into a referee. I think that's why he got the yellow, because he's the captain. He can complain to the referee. But he got a yellow from that. If it's from because he bumped physically into the ref, it's a stupid decision from Araujo. And his second yellow is such a stupid decision. I know, like, Chelsea are having a good attack, but he just recklessly goes into Cucurella. If you are a smart person, you're the centre-back, you're the captain, you're one of the oldest and most experienced players on the pitch, you do not go in that recklessly. But Araujo loses his head and goes in. And I said before, maybe Flick should give more respect to Araujo, play him more, but no. I think Araujo definitely has to leave FC Barcelona in the summer. Yamal is clearly the best player in the world, according to some cools I heard. Coolest. The expectations they have on Yamal never matches their hype for him, and it's a heavy criticism. Third big game of the season where he posts a cringe Instagram story and has a bad game. And we have to talk about this, because we don't talk about Yamal's season. We talk about the big games. That's why you win the Ballon d'Or for. That's why you get called the best player in the world. And it's 3 bad games. 3 big games, 3 bad games, and all of them filled with Instagram stories as always. And that's why I would never get first of all, Yamal is the best player in the world, or clearly the best player in the world. I've never understood it and will never understand it. I've watched so many games of Lamine Yamal and I've never been like, yo, that dude is the best player in the world. Maybe one of the best players in the world. Maybe one of the best wingers, one of the best attackers, but clearly the best player in the world. It just shows, Barca fans. They're by far the most delusional fan base, I think, in football Twitter, on YouTube, on every single social media platform. And they continue to embarrassing themselves and sitting up Lamine Yamal for all of this criticism. Shout out to Chelsea, easily best game of the season and best game since beating Paris Saint-Germain. Now it's all about controlling the game, scoreline, and killing the game off. And that's exactly what they did, all without Palmer as well, which just shows how much Chelsea has grown from being a Palmer-reliant team to being able to beat Barcelona 3-0 without Palmer. This chance with all Barca fans, and yes, I want to talk about this big opportunity. Chelsea lose the ball due to high press. Yamal puts a perfect pass to Ferran Torres, and I mean, you just cannot miss this chance. You just cannot miss this chance. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. And I saw Chelsea, Barca fans even criticize Ferran Torres for his missed opportunity versus Paris Saint-Germain, which they were really mad about. And here, once again, proving he's not that player. He's not that player. As I mentioned, yeah, I think Araujo definitely has to leave the club. De Jong, I mean, as I said, he's the fakest, funniest player there is in the world. You can go back to every single review I've had of De Jong at Barca and everything. I still don't understand how this dude is still at Barca. I still don't understand how Barca just extended him. This was a game without Pedri, for De Jong to prove himself in that midfield. Sometimes I even say the Pedri-De Jong midfield doesn't work because they're a bit too similar. But today De Jong played with Fermin as the 10, with all of that energy, Eric Garcia with the defensiveness next to him, and he was still mid as fuck. I don't understand how De Jong is still a Barca player. Garnacho had so much space to receive so many great balls, but has been stinking up the pitch, and that is true. What did Garnacho? Like, Garnacho could have, I don't know, maybe had a goal, a brace today. Got so many 1v1 situation with Koundé. Koundé defended well, fair play to him, even though Koundé didn't have that good of a game. But Garnacho could have done so much more. Heavy protection. Yeah, I even saw like Yamal getting like fake fouls from the referee just because he was diving. Estevao goal, or they talked about a huge goal. De Jong and Kubarsi leading, costing that goal as well. Rafinha coming on, 3-0. Lamine Yamal, stinker and hooked. Can people stop calling him the best player in the world for his own sake? You're setting up for failure every single time, which is 100% true. This season especially, Lamine Yamal hasn't been close to performing as one of the best players in the world. And Cucurella deserves his appreciation. I thought he would get cooked today by Yamal, but he didn't. So now we have the game, and it's an extremely impressive performance from Chelsea. I definitely have to give it to them, and it's a really disgusting performance. I mentioned the Madrid and PSG games, but those were not humiliating results like the result that Barca got in this game. Talking individually about all of the players, Robert Sanchez had a good game, both with the ball and, he barely faced any shots on him, but with the ball he was good. Gusto, obviously got the yellow card for dragging in Balde's shirt. Apart from that, decent game from Balde, nothing special. Fofana coming back from injury, cheeky game from him, and same with Chalobah, showing their defensive solidity at the back. But once again, Barca never really tested them. Cucurella, I think he was one of the best Chelsea players in this game. He had a really tough task defending against Lamine Yamal, and he had a really great job. So shout out to Cucurella. Caicedo proving he's the best midfielder in the Premier League. Huge performance defensively, mopping up every single thing that was created by Barca today. Reece James, both as a double pivot, and when he went out on the right back, when Andres Santos came in at halftime, he got the man of the match here. Assist. maybe the Estevao one. He got the assist for it. Really good performance from Reece James in this game. And I think it's probably, he's top 3 right back with, I think, Limer and Ashraf Hakimi. Estevao, huge goal. I think he could have been a little bit better. I remember the good opportunity created for Pedro Neto. Good game. Absolute elite goal from Estevao. And he's been really good this season, Estevao. Let's take a look at his stat. This is only in the Premier League, 1 goal, 1 assist. But I think in all comps, he got 10 plus GA, so he's been really good so far this season and hopefully can keep it up. Enzo Fernandez playing as the 10 today. He got the assist, got the disallowed goal in the beginning of the game. He was cheeky. Garnacho should have been way better with the opportunities that he got in the space, because maybe Barca were a little bit more focused on Estevao, but it's also that Barca aren't that good offensively. And Pedro Neto, even though he didn't get a goal or an assist, I thought Maresca was overthinking a little bit ahead of the game, but starting Pedro Neto was the right idea, especially with the high line of Barca. And, it could have ended in Pedro Neto getting a goal or an assist, but it was a great idea for Maresca. Now let's talk about Barcelona. Juan Garcia, honestly, this has to be obviously his worst game as a Barca player. And it's not just that he conceded 3 goals, because that can go on the team and everything. But for example, was it Enzo Fernandez goal he conceded that was disallowed? The ball just going through his hands. No, it was the Andres Santos goal that was disallowed. And then, I don't know, he looked a little bit shaky, which I haven't seen. But I mean, I guess he's one of the Barca players you don't want to go into too much. His job was extremely tough, facing so many shots and chances the entire game. And that goes on to the defense. Koundé obviously scoring the own goal. It was a horrible performance from Jules Koundé, in my opinion. He won majority of his 1v1 duels versus Garnacho, but every time he was getting the ball ahead of him, sometimes Yamal was dropping, taking the attention with him. Koundé pushes up, Yamal gives him the ball, and then Koundé just manages to lose the ball. He was really bad this game. Araujo, apart from the 2 yellow cards, I mean, he had a decent game, I guess, but once again, his recklessness, chicken head or whatever they call it in English, it was a really chicken head performance, I guess. No brain cells in Ronald Araujo's game today. Kubarsi, honestly, I felt he was decent in the first half compared to his usual standard in big games, but then in the second half gets absolutely cooked by Estevao. And I remember in the second half, Pedro Neto sees Kubarsi in front of him. What does Pedro Neto do? He just puts the ball ahead of him and just paces through him, like Kubarsi is not even there. There's so many question marks about Barca. I felt Balde was actually good this game. I know he was the one that kept I think Enzo Fernandez on side for the Delap goal. But apart from that, I felt Balde was one of the Barca players that were trying to bring some energy into this game. He was always trying to run up, maybe sometimes lost the ball, but at least he showed some kind of energy. Frenkie de Jong, I don't have to talk about it that much. This dude has to be by far the most overrated midfielder in world football, apart from Bellingham. But I mean, Bellingham's not a midfielder, but this dude peaked in 2019 and ever since then has not been good. He's 28 years of age. This is Frenkie de Jong's prime, and he's playing like an unexperienced 18-year-old. I don't have to talk that much about de Jong because you guys know my opinions. This guy stinks. I would never rate him in my entire life. Eric Garcia, didn't notice him a single time, either with the ball or defensively. Completely irrelevant. Fermin Lopez, one of the few times we've seen him this season basically do nothing. Maybe you could say he didn't get the ball that much. How many touches did he get? 32 touches. Maybe he wasn't that involved, but not that good. Lamine Yamal, 7.5. I mean, that's why I would never take these ratings app seriously. Really bad game from Lamine Yamal. He obviously created the first 2 chances in the beginning of the game, but apart from that, he was so bad. His dribbling 1v1 versus Cucurella, he was never there. He was losing the ball. He was looking for easy fouls. He's just not that guy. Yamal, he's only 18 years of age. In maybe 2 to 3 years, he could become the best player in the world. But for me, it's that pushing. They did the same, I felt, with Mbappe when he was young. They're trying to push him into becoming the best player in the world already, when he is clearly off that. He can't lead the team. And that Inter game definitely has blood on its hands for frying people's brain about the standard of Lamine Yamal. Ferran Torres, apart from the miss, I don't remember a single thing he did this entire game, and it was a huge miss. It costed Barca, you could say, in some extent. I think it would have helped them. I think it would have made the game easier, less tougher. Who knows, maybe even Barca could have gone on to win the game if that was scored early on. Huge goal. But Ferran Torres got the big moment. Lewandowski, I can't remember a single thing from Lewandowski this game. And that goes along for a lot of Barca attackers. They just didn't get the ball enough. How many touches did Yamal have? Yamal at least got it 64 times, but he was just so bad this game. Substitutions, Rashford, Christensen, Rafinha, Gerard Martin, Olmo. I didn't even realize Olmo came on, man. It was irrelevant substitutions, didn't really change the game. Andres Santos gave Chelsea that dueling in the defense. Delap got his goal Gittins, I mean, he was just like Garnacho, basically doing nothing. And then Achipong and Tarek George coming on at the end. And yeah, I said it before. It was a game for either Chelsea or Barca to prove themselves and say, yo, we're among the big boys. And that's exactly what Chelsea did. And that's the opposite of Barcelona did, sitting 15th in the table, 7 points from 5 games. It's not been a good start to the Champions League campaign from Barca at all. And they have 3 games remaining. And I think you need at least 12 points to make it out of the group stage in 24 spot when all of the games are played. So Barca will drop down even more when the complete match week tomorrow is over. So I don't know. The next Champions League games, it's going to be heavy pressure on FC Barcelona. But I think the good thing for them is they have some easy fixtures coming up. Frankfurt at home, getting revenge for that Europa League tie. And then in the second year, Slavia Prague away and Copenhagen at home. Barca shouldn't have any worries about not going, but they're definitely. I think top 8 I think top 8 is over for FC Barcelona. Whilst Chelsea, on the other hand, strong. Started off the Champions League with a defeat to Bayern, ending it now their 5-game stretch with a 3-0 victory over Barcelona, which shows maybe how much they've grown this season, especially without Palmer, who was there for that Bayern defeat. But it's a huge performance from Chelsea, and it's a huge, disgusting performance from FC Barcelona. And that finishes it off for the review. Hopefully, you guys have enjoyed this video. That's been it from boy PSG. Make sure to tune in for the pre-match podcast. And as usual, allez, Paris.